Hello, everybody, and happy Friday, October 23rd, 2020. How is everybody feeling? Good? Spry? Winter is starting to settle in, so it's soup time and hot drinks time. Oh, all the good stuff. Staying inside. All the things. But as, of course, the cold comes in, people are starting to sit in and rediscover new things that they love. Derek, what did you rediscover this week?
Well, it's one of those. For a long time I keep meaning to get a Marvel Unlimited subscription and finally catch up on all those X-Men back issues that I missed out on. So I finally started doing that, and I'm kind of caught up with the current thing, but basically it's just I'm not a comics fan, I'm an X-Men fan. I just love the X-Men.
Okay.
There's a bunch of Image comics I love too, but when it comes to superheroes, I want them to be a particular flavor of dumb, and aspirationally, socially commentary kind of thing, even if they screw it up along the way. So it's just been me kind of rediscovering the X-Men, picking up on some little elements that I lost out on. And then at the same time, I also discovered this awesome podcast called Cerebro, which is a gay guy who loves the X-Men as well, bringing on his gay friends, non-binary friends, marginalized folks, to have them talk about what the X-Men means to them.
Oh, that's
how
cool.
they saw themselves. Well, no, I haven't even gotten to the good, the amazing part to me, which is just the podcast is long. It's like an hour, 2 hours per episode or something like that. But they clearly deeply love the X-Men. But this is one of those case studies that anytime anybody talks about well, really, what value does diversity bring to, do we really need to have these? Can't we just have the best people rise to the top? I kind of want them to listen to this podcast, because I have learned so much about not only what these characters meant to these individuals, but what themes and perspectives you can have on the different storylines that happened. There are characters that had no impact on me, that are incredibly important, and it's because I just did not have the perspective to see them from one direction, or a storyline that meant a completely different thing than I thought of. And it has really just kind of broadened and deepened my appreciation of the X-Men in particular, and the storytelling mechanics of comic books, and how those get weird and deeply dumb at times. But it's made me kind of appreciate that a little bit more. So I have rediscovered my youth and gotten a new perspective on it, and I really like it.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
One of these days, you and I should talk about rebooting. They're going to reboot the X-Men into the MCU, and we should talk about what they're going to do with that.
I had a lot of thoughts on how they should do that with their existing movies, like Thanos' snap. I really wanted them to be do the snap. All the heroes are gone. Now it's time for the mutants to protect, because
My theory is that they're going to do with the Scarlet Witch TV show. They're going to do a house of them, and they're going to reboot it, and then that's how mutants are going to be introduced. It's my theory. Let's talk about it. We can discuss it afterwards, but I have a lot of theories.
All the theories. I mean, that would be a great segue up to hey, Isabel, you were saying that you are going to be doing your own, you're going to be spreading more of your theories, but also in a very smexy way tonight.
I have so many things going on for the Halloween week, you guys. So one of the things that I have going on, I had to write them all down. So I guess I can just announce them. Tonight, I have a show called the Spooky Sexy Open Mic, which was just for people who are performance artists, burlesque performers, spoken word artists, to come in and do what we miss doing, which is performing in front of other people. And I'm really excited about this. It's just an open mic sort of opportunity on Zoom that you can come in, throw some digital coin at some great performers, and just kind of have that kind of club night, bar night that we haven't had in a really long time. On Tuesday, I'm teaching a class with the SIF about the movie, Jordan Peele's movie Us, where I'm talking about the splitting of the Black self and the idea of the dual identities of Blackness inside of culture. So that'll be a nerdy, educational, spooky, scary kind of idea, because racism is the ultimate horror, you guys. And then on Thursday night, I'm doing a let me get this straight. So Saturday night, next Saturday night, I'm doing a show at the Northwest Film Forum where I'm showing Vincent Price's classic House on Haunted Hill. You can come in and join me and some spooky clips and some great kind of pre-show stuff. And then Thursday night, I'll be showing another great horror movie called Tales from the Hood, which is an anthology movie from the 90s. And so I'll be showing that with the Langston. I have something for you guys literally every single day this week, except for Wednesday. Even the Lord needed a day of rest. Okay. But this whole week, I have spooky horror Halloween things. Please, if you can't keep up with all the things I just said, please follow my Twitter account, and it has more information about where I'll be this week. You have no excuse not to do something spooky this week. I'm doing a lot for y'all.
All the spoopies. And then on non-spoopy news, that's a little too early if you ask me, Emma, talk about your advent calendar.
So technically this is Isabella's fault, because I'm pretty sure she's the one who posted this in our Slack channel.
Blame me. I'm okay with that. I'll take the blame.
This is a advent calendar. I don't know if you can see it. It's a dice advent calendar. Getting my light reflection there. Every day of the advent calendar is another dice that you can open. Advent calendars are great and fun, except you never know. Usually it's chocolate, and sometimes it's good chocolate and sometimes it's bad. And either way, you just have to suffer through it. But these are dice, so it's like 100 times better. And
are you saying all dice are good dice, Brent?
Yes. Was there ever any question about that? They're all good dice. All good dice. Yeah.
So we have so long before we can actually start talking. The idea that we're talking about this before Halloween, really
two more
crime.
holidays to
Okay.
get through.
Okay. What happened was it comes from like Poland or something. So I was worried. Yeah, it comes from Poland. I was worried it wouldn't ship in time, so I ordered it early. And now I have to hide it from myself so I don't accidentally open it and start opening up the dice. So I put it in my Christmas thing. And I don't think about it or look at it until Christmas. So for other people who might want to order theirs, now it's from Q Workshop. And you can order it now, just you have it in time. Because there's nothing worse than getting an advent calendar, not having it on December 1st to start opening it. I mean, there's obviously a lot worse things. That's a hyperbole, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, dice. It's great.
It's still as much as we hating on it, we are also like, oh, maybe I should get that myself.
And like when it comes to the time of it, I definitely want to see what's inside of this, because this idea of this like previously unseen dice that's in there, I'm very intrigued about that.
Very intrigued. Yeah. So during the holiday December season, we have to be update. So show us the next 7 dice you just opened up, Emma.
Show 'em, and I'll post the link in the chat too, in case you want to get one for yourself.
All right. Well, my news is not really awesome or great. Well, it is actually great. I'm level 31 now. I'm older.
Great.
Yay! And I got lots of gifts, and also a gift of Wingspan that I've been wanting. And as soon as I was showing it, I was sad, because as soon as I was showing it to you guys, I dropped it, and now my corner's all messed up. My box. That is pretty.
Now you just have to make a wooden box for it.
Ah, there you go. That's how it is.
Yeah, carve out a bird on the front of it.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty nice. Put a little inlay.
Or
and
inlay,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
We expect you to do that by next week, so you can show us the wooden.
Oh god, no! I have commissions to do. I can't.
Notice I didn't say laser cutting because I know that laser cutting is the devil. So
Laser cutting is a avenue that I don't have a laser cutter, so I frown upon it right now. But as soon as I have a laser cutter, then I'm like, yeah, cool, laser cutter.
I see how it is. Yep.
Yes.
Been projection this entire time.
It's very big projection. Well, we're done with catching up here. I think people are just interested on all the cool things that are happening, especially secrets being revealed. Emma, what secrets?
Yeah, so first up, we have a new Secret Lair from Wizards of the Coast. In case you've missed the last few ones, Secret Lair is a way that Wizards of the Coast is re-releasing individual cards. It's very different from products they've done in the past. This one is exciting because it's a Secret Lair specifically for Extra Life 2020, which is an amazing charity event. Secret Life, Extra Life. I keep wanting to say Secret Life, Extra Lair. Extra Life is a charity that benefits the Seattle Children's Hospital. Last year, WotC did a direct sale My Little Pony crossover, which my friend got because My Little Ponies are awesome. I actually have My Little Pony sleeves in Magic the Gathering Arena, which are my go-to sleeves because I just love that combination. Anyways, so Secret Lair drop, it's going to be $60. Half of that will go to Extra Life. There's going to be 4 foil Commander staple reprints, including Teferi's Protection, Amulet of Vigor, Collected Company, aka Coco, and Consecrated Sphinx. And seriously, just click on this link because the art is absolutely heartwarming. A lot of pictures of fathers and their children. There's Teferi and his daughter there, Ajani with children or cubs. He's a lion, so I don't know the right way to refer to his offspring.
I think they're cubs.
Cubs.
Yeah, cubs. But it's really great. And another exciting thing is Ultra Pro is releasing playmats featuring artwork from the cards for $21.99, which I don't know if they've done playmats to go with the Secret Lair stuff before. So again, if you love that art, you can just get it in a playmat too, which is very exciting.
So if you're a big Magic fan, how many playmats are you supposed to own? Are you supposed to have a different one for each deck, a different one for days of the week? Like, do you rotate them seasonally? Like, what's the expected volume of playmatness?
I don't understand the question. I refuse to answer that.
I feel like I don't even own Magic cards, and I have at least 6 playmats.
Thank you. Playmats are just useful. You don't have
They're just
to
nice,
play
okay?
Magic.
They're good
Any
grips.
game that you play is great to have playmats. Now I don't like, what are you going to go to a store or go to back when we were going to Mox, for example, and playing on the tables? Do you just put your stuff down on the table? No, you put down the nice playmat.
I thought that's what you said the sleeves were for.
You need both. You need the playmat and then the sleeves on top of the playmat, and then everything is very nice and very protected. And you get to say a lot about your personality with your playmat. Like, for example, I got the holiday celebration pie delivery service, which is Thopters in Kaladesh carrying pies around. I got that one for Phil. That's one of his favorites. My favorite one I have right now is the Card Kingdom Rainbow Unicorn playmat. It's very vibrant and very colorful.
So I
do feel I need to point out that I in no way criticized playmats. I simply asked a question of how many are you supposed to have?
The answer is yes.
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 I mean,
There
the
is
answer
Provoke a
is
reaction.
technically you need just one, but once you get one, you go to the store and you're like, oh my gosh, this has adorable corgis on it. How can I live my life and not have an adorable corgi playmat? And now we collectively must have like 8 or 9 playmats, but now I see these ones and I'm like, oh, I want these ones too. So it's tough. I got the Harmless Offering one too, which is Harmless Offering is a Magic card where there's an adorable kitten and then you look at its tail and it's got a mouth on it because the cat is actually a demon and the card's all about here's this thing and then it's gonna probably kill you. But it's an adorable kitten too. That's also another good playmat. Playmats are kind of like dice. I could go on. I'll have to show mine off someday because I have a lot of really good ones.
But yes.
Anyways, yes, you can get the playmats, and if you're an arena player and don't play paper, you can also get an Extra Life logo sleeve on MTG Arena. So there's also something for arena people. So that is our Secret Lair Extra Life 2020 news.
Ooh, very, very nice. Now we come from this very awesome, heartfelt news to something. If you have been running around on the scenes with the board game scene, you might have heard or you might have not. We're going to go ahead and lay it on to you first. On October 16th, Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman sue WotC for breach of contract. So just to like kind of put an easy code over this is something that you yourself want to go ahead and look into. But WotC had hired both of these writers to finally finish the Dragonlance trilogy to just bring a nice little bow at the end of of a series. But during August 2020, they pulled what their project was and basically said, nope, never mind, we changed our mind kind of thing. And so, as you can see, Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, they want to go ahead and just figure out the reason why they terminated their contract. So the lawsuit claims that there is no reason provided for the contract's termination and alleges it was done in bad faith to damage Weis and Hickman's IP value with Penguin Random House. And then they wanted for breach of the contract, good faith or fair dealing. And the allegations that WotC knowingly sabotages the author's publishing contract. They claim that there's damages more than $10 million. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and have to see more because this claim is really just their side of the story. And of course, people are speculating. We don't want to spread false speculation. And until we have more information coming out from both WotC's side and more of the writer side, I feel like we could just here's the court case documents. This is what IC says. All of it is we have to wait and see what is going on during this time period. So.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate when something like this happens, but I have a feeling that this is not the last we have heard of it, and that a lot more details will be coming out as that case progresses.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as it progresses, we'll just have to keep an eye. But just for those who wanted to go ahead and see, there's links there. You can find out more information for yourselves. But like I said, all the information now is just one side of the story, and we haven't quite heard the other side yet. And there's lots of speculation. So hold your horses in what you're thinking until we get that done. But like I said, it's all up in the air. For now, though, Derek, you want to tell us about the Catacombs?
I do,
Ooh.
actually. So Warcry is the skirmish level version of Age of Sigmar. We've talked about it a little bit in the past. I'm usually a 40K guy, and I really like Kill Team, and Warcry had a lot of really interesting kind of elements, a lot of interesting design elements to it. But it seems like the core set actually went out of print very quickly. So I guess I'm glad that my closet back there has one stashed in it that I will eventually get around to painting. I need minis that I haven't painted yet, the same way that you need play mats, basically. So it's a new set, a new core set. It's going to have the core rules, all that kind of stuff. There's new warbands in it. One is the Scions of Flame, who are this fire-themed chaos warband, and the other one is the K-Knight Shadow Stalkers. So it's a bunch of elves in shadow cloaks with really spiky knives and whips and stuff like that. And their boss is half snake. So there's some neat stuff in there with new warbands. Yeah, come on. It would just make sense, right? Anyway.
Just throw that out there.
Yeah, just throwing it out there. But the interesting thing too, or what I'm most curious about, is Kill Team, which Warcry is similar to in the sense that it's a smaller scale version of a larger game, had Kill Team Arena come out. And that was also an indoor kind of fighting scenario system. And it was a little more balanced. It was a little more competitive than normal Kill Team. So I'm wondering and hoping that maybe Warcry will bring some of those elements in here as well, so that you can have your casual games, you can have the ridiculous fun that you want to do with the big terrain. But if you want to have one of those quote unquote serious games, or if you want to run a tournament, maybe this will kind of lean in that direction. It's a little bit of speculation just because both are indoors, quote unquote. But It's a new core set coming out, so if you've been thinking about getting into Warcry, or if you like fire or snakes, this might be your way in.
I do like fire.
Very cool. Fire and snakes.
Yeah. It's kind of tuning out. There's like fire. Fire. Okay.
On another thing that's going and happening right now is the first ever Steam Digital TableTop Fest is happening right now. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, and you're like, oh man, I can't really go out and game, this is the event for you, because they have a lot of like independent game studios and Valve are celebrating games across different physical and digital formats. So there is plenty of panels you can watch, and plenty of dev interviews, and huge sales running to like 5% all the way up to 75%. I know a couple of my friends have already spent $50 just alone on all the sales. It runs through until October 26th, but most of the events are happening today, this Friday, or mostly on Fridays. So you can go ahead and click on there. There's not really any like games that you can join automatically. It's more of just like, these are talks happening and kind of Q&A sessions and streams that are happening for these particular board games. So if you're interested in watching those, go ahead and click on Steam. Just look at their big banner on top. It should say Steam Digital TableTop Fest, and click on it and navigate how you will. But yes, but we're going to just go ahead and roll on to the next digital event, huh?
So good, thank you. Yes, we're rolling right along, right to Roll20 2020. If you need more things to do this weekend, I got you, fam. There's another event going on this weekend, and that is the Roll20 Con. This event, which I think is really interesting because it also raises a lot of money for charity. It has 3 days of tabletop games, announcements, demoing, which I think is really cool. If there's been a couple of games that you're interested in trying, this might be the time to demo a whole bunch of games in one weekend. Enjoy some stream content, buy some merch, talk about it with other people like you would in an environment. And also, one of the really cool things that I like about this particular event is that it's raising money for Code 2040, which is a group that is to activate, connect, and mobilize one of the largest racial equity communities in tech to help Black and Latinx people who are working in technology in order to increase diversity, increase innovation, community, togetherness, and really like that's what this is all about. Like that means a lot to me as a person of color in the gaming industry, and this kind of idea that we are so much better when we work together, and so much greater games happen when we all work together. And so please check that group out, their work, and then help raise some money. Why not? We're all sitting inside trying to stay healthy. Why not do something good for another person?
Just
get
do
some
it.
time this weekend. So that's going on, and that is starting. What is today? I keep forgetting today is Friday.
Friday the 23rd.
Friday the 23rd through the 25th.
Well, thank you for that. But yeah, just go ahead, go in, Roll20, support code 2024 or 20. Gosh darn, too many 20s. 2040 to help out people of POCs. You know what it is.
People of POCs. Yes.
People of POCs. Sorry, I'm sorry.
People of color. Yes.
People of color. I was like, wait, I just short-circuited my brain. Excuse me. But no, we could go on and on about this spiel, but I feel like Emma.
Pretty good. Yeah, we are talking about spiels. Specifically the Spiel, which of course in German just means game or play, which is not super handy, except if you're in the know in the industry, in which case you know that Spiel is the biggest board game convention in the entire world, happens every year in Essen, Germany. Of course, this year it is online, and you can go to the website and check it out. Typically, Spiel is a little bit different from some of the board game conventions you might be more familiar with in the US. In the US, they tend to be very play-focused, whereas Spiel is much more buy focus. So you walk around the show, it's a huge show, you demo some games, you buy them. There's not really open or free play spaces. And because of that, they just pump 100,000 people or something or more people through this convention. So digital is a little different. They don't really have as easy of a way to just like sit down and demo the games. They have some links to demos, but really the best thing you get out of the online convention this year is seeing what the biggest games are that are coming out this year. It's the best way to get an idea of the new hotness. And it's cool to see that people are still publishing games. So if you go over to the website, you can click on the list of games and see new stuff that's coming out. Buy it, kind of get a sense of what's up and coming.
Not just publishing games, but publishing lots of games.
Yeah,
All the games.
Yeah. Spiel is where most games are released every year. So you'll have like thousands of new games at Spiel. Yep. And there's a lot there, so it's good to see.
So if you're playing video games, you've got Steam TableTop Fest. If you're playing RPGs, you got Roll20 Con. Yep. If you're the diehard board gamer who wants to see what's going to start to trickle into the US over the next 6 to 12 months, you've got Spiel. So if you are one of those gamers who does everything, you have a busy weekend ahead of you, even before you go to Isabella's spooky stuff.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Yeah. All the hydrations. Speaking of which, I challenge you, Bundle Bus Derek, to do a Humble Bundle speed round. Go.
All right. Well, what's great is these bundles have plenty to dig into. So everybody pull up a chair. We're going to sit through and we're going to go through these in depth. So first, Humble Bundle has another Warhammer Black Library audiobook sale. So this is $748 worth of books that kind of cover both the fantasy and 40K. There's some of the new horror imprint stuff, the first Siege of Terra, Horus Heresy novels in there. There's a bunch of 40K and Sigmar stuff in there. The first book of the Eisenhorn trilogy. There's a couple books around the Emperor and stuff like that as well. So if you want to get into audiobooks, if you want something to play while you're painting your minis or thinking about the minis that are in your closet that you haven't painted and you need a soundtrack for that, there's plenty here to kind of dive into. And as a Humble Bundle, it's always a great way to get a bunch of stuff for cheap and benefit charity. The charity in particular for this one is the Every Library Institute. So make sure to check that out if you are into Warhammer or Age of Sigmar. And then Bundle of Holding actually has 3 bundles to talk about this week. So we'll go through them fairly quickly. There's a return of an old bundle from 2017 for Shadow of the Demon Lord. And if anybody's not familiar with it, the kind of flippant way to describe it is that it's really horror-focused D&D. It's still fantasy. It has a D20 system that's not quite D&D, but will be very familiar and comfortable to the kind of folks in 3rd edition who liked feats and prestige classes and kind of building kits together. Because the core idea is that, you pick your ancestry, that gives you some stuff. You pick your starting class, and then you pick an advanced class, and then you pick a master class. And every level, you're getting something from one of those classes. But they all kind of spread over the length of levels. But the other really key, interesting innovation is that you level up every adventure or so. Each adventure is maybe a page or 2 long, supposed to be a night or 2 of play. You level up after every adventure, and there are only 11 levels. So it's supposed to be play a quick campaign, maybe survive, maybe not, and then play another one. Like, it really encourages you to mess around with characters and try different ideas and make new stuff and not have that campaign that's lasted 10 years or something like that. So the core, the one from 2017 has all of what you need for the core book. There's a couple campaigns in there. There's all the player information. It's going to have everything you need to go to get playing. And then there's the Demon Lord Legacies bundle, which is new. And this is the one that has a book with a ton more magic stuff, another campaign, what they call the Monstrous and Poison pages, which are a bunch of collections of just like a PDF that's about one monster or just about a particular like blasphemous tome or something like that. So it's kind of a cornucopia of just really small, focused, interesting ideas that you can play around with. So if you've been playing Demon Lord for a little bit and you want some new stuff, or if you want some of the weirder things, this new bundle will have you covered, and both of the bundles benefit the Wildlife Conservation Society. So then the third bundle that I also want to draw people's attention to is another one returning from 2017. And this is the Dracula dossier. And this might also be thematically appropriate for the holiday time we're in. But imagine if Dracula the novel was a highly edited account of the British government's disastrously failed attempts to recruit Dracula as a spy. And that is the campaign. Like Night's Black, yeah, you get that look, but come on.
I play Night's Black Agent. You're right.
Yeah,
you're
Night's
right.
Black Agents is basically Jason Bourne finds out that vampires run the world and then goes and tries to kick their butt. And this one is all about Dracula, and like it includes a version of Dracula that's been rewritten and expanded to give you all the information that the British government redacted and censored out of its original publication, as well as a whole campaign around it, some additional adventures and stuff. So if Spies plus Dracula really just makes you kind of perk up, then you are covered here.
Yes. Oh, but and also it looks like chat, if you guys were wondering, yes, we are going to have a special guest later on today, just after we do our other Kickstarters. Omari Akil, I think I spelled that name wrong, from Board Game Brothas, also BGB, is going to be coming in here to talk about Godz Kickstarter. So let you guys know. So just hold on for a second. We're going to go through our other Kickstarters that we have for our Kickstarter court, and then we're going to bring Omari in, and they're going to tell us all about the hoops. Sorry, just going on. But yes, that it being said, we're going to go ahead and kickstart this Kickstarter court in session. Please, Emma, tell us about what you bring forth to us.
Oh gosh, so many of my friends have games on Kickstarter right now, which is expensive, one, and just like constant hype. I feel like Team Mom or something, where I'm just rooting for them and seeing their ups and downs, and it's so dramatic and it's a lot of emotions right now. Anyways, first up on my list, I have Fantastic Factories Manufactions, which is an expansion to the hit game Fantastic Factories. This one is a partnership between the creators of Fantastic Factories, Justin Faulkner and Joseph Z. Chen, and Deepwater Games, which is a very exciting partnership. Fantastic Factories, so this is one of the games that was play tested in my group. I want to say, like, I love all the games play tested in my group as they were my own children, but Fantastic Factories in particular is a special place in my heart. Back to the first version of the game. It's just dice, super satisfying engine building. The art done by Joseph is adorable and amazing. There's a bunch of new expansions for a bunch of new art. I haven't backed it yet simply because I need to figure out what level I'm getting. I think I'm going in for all the expansions with the playmat. But yeah, I'm very excited about this game. If you like dice, if you like engine building, you should check it out because it is a very solid game. Components are amazing and the upgrades they have are legit. So I'm very excited for this one.
Very, very cool.
All right. Well, the next Kickstarter that I want to talk about is has 5 days left. And if you are like me, and you always are looking for some way to play an RPG using your incredibly large collection of playing cards that you have somehow gotten because you wanted to find more tarot decks. Anyway, I've got a lot of playing cards. I always want to figure out some cool way to use them for an RPG. And Unbound has a Kickstarter up for a reprint. And this is a generic system. It doesn't really have a default setting, from the folks who brought us Spire and Heart, which are two of my favorite RPGs that are really weird and focused and dark. But this is a more generic one. It has the same kind of very stark, high contrast art, almost like a Mike Mignola kind of style to it. And it has an interesting spin on using a deck of playing cards to kind of manage your character and what they're doing and what's related to what. And it has a kind of an interesting way or premise of building the group and then selecting your role in the group and then selecting kind of how you differentiate yourself from other people with the same role. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. If you want a slightly different RPG, if you really like the art, check it out. And it has 5 days left.
Also, with 5 days left, Frostpunk, the board game. We actually had one of the creators, Kuba, come in and tell us a lot about that. So if you want to go ahead and hear more, there's a VOD on our thing on YouTube and stuff that you can hear more from the creator, Kuba himself, about the game. If you ever played Frostpunk, it is a very like post-apocalyptic, like snow apocalyptic kind of thing where you have to manage resources, what you do with your people, hope, like laws and everything. It looks like a massive, challenging strategy game, and it seems like they did an incredible job with grasping the digital game's tone with the gameplay itself, and it's just really, really good looking, beautiful artwork. I'm always a sucker when things have really pretty artwork. But yes, if you like stories like this War of Mine, Nemesis kind of thing, like that grungy sadness of dying.
As a matter of fact, I do. Grungy sadness of dying. I'm in.
Grungy sadness of dying.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. So that's for you. And like I said, last week's TableTakes, we had the designer come over. So if you want to hear more from them on the rough takes, go ahead and click on that. And that has 5 days left. Frostpunk, the board game.
Carrying on with 6 days left. If you are a fan of Lovecraft Country or Inglourious Bastards, or if you hate fascism and hate Draculas, then this game is for you. Nazi Dracula Must Die is an alternative reality World War II 5th edition, D&D 5th edition setting with weird science and strange magic. And basically your whole goal is to kill Nazi Dracula, which who can deny that? That sounds incredible. So this game, it's got 8 new player subclasses, equipment, firearm rules, magic items. I think it's really cool, the idea of infusing World War II machinery. If you're a big World War II buff, I like World War II stuff, but then also putting magic on top of World War II stuff sounds really, really cool. And there's also a movie called Overlord. If you haven't seen it, it features undead Nazis. Is also a rad movie. So check this out. It's on Kickstarter. It's got 6 days left, ending on Thursday, October 29th. Check it out.
Well, so the next one, also with 6 days left, also using the D&D 5th edition set, is the Star Trek role-playing game, the new edition, a new release of it, the officially licensed. I'm sorry, Stargate. I apologize.
Wait. Not.
Yeah, the officially licensed Stargate RPG. So if you want to play through the setting that has pretty much sealed in our minds what anytime you uncover an ancient Stargate or something like that, that's what we call it, like any gate that goes to another dimension, the one that like is kind of locked in everybody's mind, the brand name is Stargate. So there's a lot of fans for the TV show out there, a lot of fans for the movies. The rules are currently in open beta. You can use the quick start, or if you back the Kickstarter, they have a lot more details for you. But if you love Stargate, or you like leather-bound special editions, or both, then you have 6 days left to get in on that action.
All right, up next, also with 6 days left, ending Thursday, October 29th, another one of my good friends, Gil Hova, has a game called High Rise, which is a tabletop board game about construction and corruption. So this game was on Kickstarter last year or the year before. So it's exciting about this new campaign is this is the Ultra Plastic Edition. So when Gil originally proposed the game, it's got this amazing board by Quanchai is the artist of this, great art to it. It has cardboard standees for the skyscrapers in the original iteration. And you might have seen this at Gen Con and other conventions because table presence is so great, and it was stackable towers. You would actually pull the pieces from the bag and you would stack them and have like just really amazing 3D buildings. So what's cool about this is Gil has finally been able to bring that reality to life, and not just blocks this time. In the prototypes, you might have seen the blocks, but these are amazing 3D modeled pieces that fit together in a really cool way and just look like futuristic buildings. Mechanics of the game are cool. You're moving around the board, getting resources, trying to avoid corruption. Fairly medium to heavy game. So if that sounds like something that you are into with cool bits, you should check that out. High Rise Ultra Plastic Edition. I also have another one by a good friend of mine, Studies in Sorcery by Chris Glane, being published by Weird Draft Games. This is another one that I've play tested many times and really, really enjoyed. Isabella, I think you might actually like this because the idea of it is you are students in necromancy school and you have to go on your off hours, kind of illicit activity, go digging up graves, which are represented by cards in a Winston draft. So you have piles of things, and you look at it, and it's like all a bunch of bones. And then you're getting recipes for stuff like an unstoppable bone sphere or an animated hand. And again, designers doing the art. Chris did all the art for this as well. And it is, as you can see from the pictures, just adorable, spooky, perfect time of year for this. I would say it's a pretty straightforward card drafting game. There's some strategy and complexity in there too. So maybe not for the youngest of families, but it's pretty easy to pick up. And the theme of it is what absolutely sells this game for me, because it's just like both adorable and spoopy at the same time, which is a little bit Tim Burton-esque, which is
cute.
Yeah, exactly. Great intersection for me. So if those things sound nice for you, check out Studies in Sorcery with 6 days left.
So then with 7 days left, to continue the grim part at least, we have Putrescence Regnant, which is a adventure scenario location for the award-winning Morkborg, but it is also an LP album. It's a vinyl album. So I think a couple of these have come out. There was like Wolf Brother, I think. There's a couple other. There was like like Death Robot Jungle or something like that. And now Morkborg is getting its own. So you get a vinyl to play. You get a little book with some rules on how to run, some factions in this like horrible bog kind of thing. And then you get a map of hexes around the bog for the party to just explore. And the vinyl holder is your GM screen. So this is one of those things of like Morkborg is defined so much by its layout and graphic design and its attitude that it's hard for me to imagine a more perfect way to package the quote unquote adventure content for it than as part of some pseudo metal album thing. So I suspect that if you are the kind of person who likes Morkborg or even likes how Morkborg looks, then you're going to want to get one of these.
Rad. I'm really excited for this next one. Even though I was really excited to hear Derek say Morkborg as many times.
Same.
This next one with 7 days left, I'm really excited to talk about it. It's called the Ouagadou Chronicles, and I've been following this team's work over the past, I guess it's been a year or so since I found them. And it's an Afro-fantasy world, not to be confused with an Afrofuturism world. This is an Afro-fantasy world. What I really like about this this whole thing is that it is a video game, but then also there's a tabletop game that goes along with it, and they're developing both side by side. There's also, they have music that they're incorporating with it, which I think is really exciting. One of the really cool things about this game is that it explores the different kinds of cultural and regional influences of Africa. If you guys don't know this, Africa is not a country, it is a continent. I know this is very surprising to people. We're still having to remind people, Africa contains many different kinds of cultures with many different kinds of backgrounds. And there's also many different kinds of climates and ecologies and animals in different parts. Africa does not, I know you saw The Lion King one time. That's not what Africa looks like, the whole thing. And this game really encompasses different kind of cultural aspects of Africa, which I love so much. And so you have the TTRPG, which really explores the lore of the game. And then you have this open world MMORPG, which is the video game aspect as well. The Wagyu Chronicles looks amazing. The team is so cool. So please check them out. Please check out their work. They have 7 days left. The Wagyu Chronicles. Please check them out.
Well, and the setting is actually not just like a fantasy, pastiche of Africa either, because you're all like reincarnating souls or something like that, trying to regain some memories, and there's a new culture that's being built around it. So it's definitely different from like a typical fantasy setting, even outside of what cultures it's focusing on exploring too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, the next one is SIG City of Blades, and we had the designer for this on last week or the week before, I think. The week before, I think.
Week before.
So we had him on then to kind of go through his design, and this is basically like an homage to planar adventure in general, and Planescape is the biggest example of that, but it's the whole philosophers with clubs kind of idea, where you're part of a gang that has a core philosophy, and you are living in an extremely cosmopolitan city that is aligning itself with different planes and seeing immigration from those planes, changing the makeup of the city, who lives in it, what they want, and stuff like that. So it's very much about kind of urban adventure and heavy on faction play, where you're trying to ally yourself with factions you agree with. You're trying to protect your community, your culture, your neighborhood. You're trying to welcome new people into the city. So lots of interesting stuff to play around with in that. If you've liked a lot of the planar settings that have come out with games before, you absolutely should check it out. Check out our interview with the creator, and you have 7 days left to back it.
Nice. Well, Emma's not the only one that has friends. I also have friends.
Apparently Banzai and I don't.
We don't have friends, Derek.
Okay, Emma's always flexing. Oh, my friend makes this game. My friend makes that game. I also have friends, Emma. Okay, and my friends over at Zombie Orpheus are coming out with a new game, the Fatherfell Companion Deluxe Edition, with 7 days left for this one. I'm very excited. I want you guys to just if you don't know the Zombie Orpheus people, they are an incredible group of creators, writers, actors, directors, content creators, all around good dudes, good people. Dudes, gender non-conforming word. This deluxe guide from the 9 Ages of Fatherfell have 460 pages, including 100 in full color. I'm seeing that some of it's on silk paper. They're trying to give you that luxury, okay? And it gives you the complete history of the Gamers and Journey Quest. If you're not familiar with the Gamers and Journey Quest, please check that out. It's a really great online series that the people over at Zombie Orpheus do. And look at this fancy foil embossed leatherette cover. You are getting the full lore in as fancy as possible. Check out their work. They do a really great online webcast of different series and different shows. And if you're a nerd, you have no excuse. If you're into tabletop gaming, you have no excuse not to be up on what the Zombie Orpheus people are doing on that. And I'm not just saying that because they're my friends. I'm saying that because I like what they do, and also they're nice to me sometimes.
Only sometimes.
Only sometimes.
You have to promote them a certain amount of time before they get nice to you.
I'm like, please buy this. They'll be nicer to me all the time.
Well, the last Kickstarter we have to review with 8 days left is called Veiled Fate, and I haven't played this yet. I have no connection to anything, but I'm almost suspicious because it seems like it was custom made to appeal to Derek. It is a 2 to 8 player social deduction / strategy game with really nice art, high quality components, and just really an overall great look. So I'm like, yeah, like this, I'm all in on all of this stuff. So you're basically playing a god who there are all these demigods in play, and you're trying to make sure that your demigod, like your offspring, gets the most prestige and wings of the game, but you don't want to reveal who you are, so you need to subtly manipulate things. The art is really cool. It's very striking with so like strong, bold colors. There's an option for a wooden board. A lot of the components are upgraded, and anytime you tell me that there is a deception or social deduction game that can go down to 2 players, I am immediately interested. So that has 8 days left. I'm really hoping it's going to turn out really well. And I definitely check out the design and art because I think it looks really, really sharp. And if you like those kinds of things, then maybe this will be up your alley too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was our Kickstarters. But hey, stick around. We're going to be doing a little change positions really quick. So if you give us 5 minutes to go ahead and rearrange folks so we can get Omari in to talk about Hoop Gods. So just hang tight and we'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. We are now joined by Omari Akil, half of Board Game Brothas, who is on to talk to us about mainly about Hoop Gods, which is your new Kickstarter, but maybe we'll dip into a little bit of Rap Gods and the previous project that you worked on. But Isabella, why don't you kind of take it away with some of the in-depth questions that you have, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm really happy to have you on to talk about us. Your previous game, Rap Gods, was a huge hit, especially in the Black tabletop sphere, because of the fact that it was one of the few games that really kind of talked about this huge subset of Black culture, which is arguing about who's the best rapper in the entire world. And now you have this new game, which I think will inspire a lot of other arguments about who's the best basketball player of all time. So I'm really excited about this. So I wanted to ask you, what was your start? How did you get into games? And I wanted to ask about not only what are the games that you're into, but what are some of the games that inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, I initially got into at least tabletop games from watching the show Tabletop. I was actually just looking for a community of people who were like me and who liked the things that I liked. And I was already huge into video games, and I was like, I don't know what's out there. And so I looked for just meetup groups and stuff like that in my area. And I saw one that was board games, and I was like, all right, that sounds cool. And I just started looking up, okay, what's out there? What's the board game world like? And I stumbled upon the Will Wheaton show Tabletop, and I was like, all right, this actually looks fun. So I studied up by watching that show and got a grip on some of the games, and I was like, okay, now I'm feeling brave enough to go to this meetup, and I won't feel like a total noob in this space because I at least watched this show, so I know something about games. And it just snowballed from there. And I've been playing games basically every week for the last 7 years now.
Wow. So what are some of your tops? What are some of your favorites?
Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite game is Eclipse. It's one that still just hits the sweet spot for me in terms of I really enjoy 4X games, and the combination of crafting your ships, and I love rolling dice, so it's dice-based space battle. I can't get enough of that. So yeah, it just ticks all the boxes for me. And Arcadia Quest is kind of similar, but I like that game because of the campaign and being able to build your character up, and also a ton of dice rolling. As you will see, that's kind of how I stumbled into the design of of Hoop Gods. I was like, more dice, please, because we only have one dice, and one die that is used in Rap Gods. So I was just wanting more.
You remind me of our friend Javion, who joins us sometimes on the show, and he is always the one who brings the dice game, or talks about how cool this new dice game is.
Yeah, I mean, if it has dice in the title, I'm looking at it automatically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Bonza, did you want to go and ask another question?
Oh, I mean, if you don't mind me just hopping in, I just kind of wanted, like, I took a look a little bit on like, you know, on the characters that you have for you know, hoop gods, right? And I just love how like everything is just like, you know, usually when you see card games, they have like a standard, everybody kind of looks the same. This one is a plethora of people, of different representations, different groups. Like, how, like, was that like a big priority for your game making, or like what's the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's something we're very intentional about, but I think we do it just because, I mean, that's how we feel about, you know, creating imaginary worlds. It's like, if we're going to create a world, like, we want as many different people as possible in it, like, because it's just richer if that's true. And like, that's just true of that world. And so if we're creating worlds, that's just what we want to do. And I think it's also been fun for us to create all these different personalities and just put them in a game. And it kind of changes how you think about, because in both of our games, all our players have special abilities, all the characters have special abilities, and like that changes the framing, right? So like each different character personality and whatever group that they come from, or traits that they have, that will inform our decisions about the game design elements related to them too. So it just challenges us to be able to think about all of these things in terms of, yeah, just creating a world and creating characters and making them interesting. And I think it's easier to make interesting characters when they're diverse and there's a lot of different options. So in a lot of ways, it makes our life a little bit easier to just have everyone be different. And then it helps us create different pathways and options in the gameplay.
So that actually ties into a question that Emma had. She wasn't able to stick around and join us for the interview, unfortunately, but she had a few notes that she wanted to make sure that we asked you and put you on the spot. And we'll get to some of the more embarrassing ones a little bit later. But the one that ties into this is that she mentioned that support for the community is a big part of your work. So you talked a little bit about how you wanted to kind of represent the community or the breadth of community in the game design itself. But you also raised a lot of money for Black Lives Matter Global Network through sales of Rap Gods. You know, I think you raised more than $80,000 for it. Did you want to talk about how you wanted to engage, or what drove you to engage with the community outside of the game design itself as well?
I mean, that it's funny because that situation, so the scenario where this summer where we raised all that money was actually not us at all, which was kind of the best part about it. That was really the community. It was started by Danny Quash of Danny Plays Games. We sort of just like jumped on board. Right. And we jumped on board and we were like, okay, well, we can donate money for each of our game sales. If person on the internet can do it, we can do it too. It's our company, it's our game. And you know, then 15 other people basically over the course of a few days decided they were all going to donate to, and a couple of companies too. So that was really them. But I think people recognize that we were interested in supporting the community because in our Rap Gods Kickstarter, in our first Kickstarter, we had a tier where you could basically buy one game for yourself, and then for basically an at cost amount, you could purchase another game that would be donated. And so we did that for Rap Gods. And so, yeah, we got basically about 70 games that we were able to donate. Unfortunately, we're still holding on to a lot of them because the pandemic hit and kind of wrecked our plans for distributing them. But that was an effort to engage the community. One, because we want to be able to show these games to people in our community and let them know that game design is a pathway. They can also create games, and they can create games about things they care about, and people will support that. And so just us being visible and being able to show up and show people that that's an option, especially kids who are trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. So so that's really for us, it is to, if wherever we can, be a little bit of an inspiration to especially the kids who look like us and who grew up in the places where we grew up. And we actually tucked the same situation. We didn't even talk about it. We just put it as an add-on in our Hoop Gods campaign, and we put 50 donated copies in there that people could add on, and they sold out almost immediately. So we have 50 copies of Hoop Gods basically that we're going to be delivering with the additional Rab Gods copies that we have. So it's
so cool.
It's really just it's a part of our business, I think, to be able to serve the community as much as we are trying to make fun games.
I think that that's really cool because one is that I got into gaming, and I oftentimes, whenever I would play, I was like the only Black person or one of the only Black people that would play. And there seems to be this sort of high barrier to get Black people interested, not only in just playing tabletop games, but then also designing tabletop games as well. With your story, you just kind of jumped in. You were like, this is cool, so I'm just going to go to a meetup and and you just jump full feet into it. But I'm wondering about your thoughts about that. Like, do you think that it's like an access issue? Like, there just aren't enough Black people who have access to learn about these kinds of games? Or do you think that like tabletop game companies just don't market themselves enough or are not focusing enough on a diverse group of people? What do you really think is like the things behind that?
I mean, personally, I think it's a combination of all of these. I think there's even some, not necessarily stigma, but one thing that we often run into when we're just talking to Black folks about playing games or entering into a gaming space. Sometimes there's an automatic association that it must be related to kids or just like it, not that it's an adult hobby. So I think there's at least a little bit of a resistance to just be involved in games as an adult. I guess, that's something in the Black community that is not expressly sort of like shown off as a thing that you do. And it's not even resistance, it's just an unfamiliarity with it being a hobby, like a cool hobby. And as nerd culture is kind of blowing up and becoming cooler, I think that is obviously changing. We have a ton of Black streamers now in the video game space. So I think that's shifting quickly now. But I feel like that's a part of it. But on the publishing side too, I think, and I don't know that it's specifically that publishers aren't trying to market. It's just that they don't necessarily know how, and their message isn't automatically going to reach. So they have to put in a lot of extra work to get a different message out to attract a different group of people. And I think until recently, a lot of companies weren't even aware that they needed to do that work or that it was valuable. And I think that's what we bring to the table is like, we have the capacity to bring a ton more people into the industry, which helps everybody. It's ultimately more customers if you're thinking about it from a business perspective. And so why wouldn't you put that work in? Why wouldn't you try to make games that appeal, right? It takes more work again to make those games effectively and to do them justice. So that's what we're trying to show, that it can be done. It just requires the right people and the right effort.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think there's an opportunity, like the kind of new generation, whereas my parents' generation, when they would get together and they would play dominoes or they would play like backgammon and like, argue about that. And like, I'm like, okay, if we can get together, like all the old people get together, older people, play backgammon. Younger people, we also love games. There's nothing that Black people love is more than getting together, playing a game, and fighting. And so I think that like
You're kind of telling the truth. I mean, I've been to family reunions where it goes down every single time, and that's the funny thing. So like when we're out and we show Rap Gods to someone, they immediately think of their kids or like say, oh, cool, I bet my kids would love that. But on the flip side, I'm like, I know you're playing spades with your people, and like, I know you're a gamer too, just in a slightly different way. So yeah, making that switch, I don't know how to do it exactly, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I think that's great. Bonsai, do you have another question you'd like to ask?
Yeah, you know, I think just because we got a lot of this background, I'd want to just kind of also talk about you. Like, you're fairly new to this, like, gaming, like, you know, not gaming scene, but fairly new designer to this, like, you know, past few years. I wouldn't say fairly new, but like, what's your dream? Like if you had everything laid out perfectly for you, right? So this is your dream. Like, what would your dream project be to work on, you know, and where would you take it?
My dream project? Oh man. There's a couple that this one isn't my dream, but it's very close to it, and it resonates with me in a couple different ways. But what I would like to do is my sister is an educator, and she's been an educator for a long time. And she was assistant principal for a while. And when she was, I just talked to her about kind of how, like, what she does and how that works, and you know, at a high level, like, how do you run a school? And we had a lot of those conversations. And so a part of me really wants to make a game about running a public school, but I would love to be able to inject into that all of the complexities that come along with that, in kind of in the world that we live in, where public schools are often lacking funding, and some of the disparities that exist based on neighborhoods and race. I would love to be able to, and in a lot of ways, work with my sister, because I've been designing a bunch of games with my brother. So that's a part of it too, is I would love to work with my sister on creating a game about that experience and be able to actually have some commentary on how our school systems work and inject that into the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Emma has another hard-hitting journalistic, investigative journalism question for you. Are you ready?
Love Emma. Yeah, I'm so ready.
Why are you such an amazing designer who is doing fantastic and innovative things in the industry, sir?
That is a literal, that's literally not a question.
That's a full quote right there.
I don't know the answer to that. I can say that, and this was, I gave a talk on at North Carolina State University, and they asked me to describe my path from technology to game design, to board games, and it took me a long time to figure out how to do that. But when I finally gave that presentation, it actually made my mom cry, because it combined, like, I live in North Carolina, so I'm a little detached from my family. And so it was the first time that she got to really hear my entire path. And if I tell you that path, like starting at IBM, I was a programmer, and then I did a bunch of freelance and websites and database work. And then I left there. I wanted to do something different. I ended up selling cars for a little while. I ended up in a call center, and that's where I sort of learned how to, like, talk to people and sell myself a little bit. And then I left there and I taught 8th grade science, and I got just more sort of community focus, and just that engagement and trying to grab these kids' attention. And then I eventually went back to technology, but I was doing more of like solution design, which ultimately was kind of teaching me game design. And I described this like long path with all of these things that built up into basically me being able to present myself, have great ideas, figure them out, go and talk to people about them. And it was, it's just this wild pathway of things that somehow created this person that can do this. And a lot of times I do a stream or something and I watch it and I'm like, I barely know this person, just compared to like the programmer that I was right out of college, and I didn't want to talk to anybody in the office, and I would just like do my thing and go home and play video games and not talk to anybody. And it's so night and day different. And I guess, I don't know, it's just, I've been through a whole lot of stuff and done a whole lot of stuff, and I hope that it just adds up to me being cool and awesome.
Obviously it's working out for you. It sounds cool because if you've lived all those different kind of lives and you can infuse that into how you write characters and how you write situations, you could add more depth into those kinds of scenarios. And so that's really incredible. I have one more question. I don't know how much more time we have, but I wanted to ask you, this might be a spicy question, but tabletop nerds are not known for their athletic prowess. I feel like I can say that. It's spicy, but it's not wrong.
I didn't say it wasn't wrong. I was just saying because I remember Jim.
Okay, a lot of the reasons of why me and my friends start doing tabletop is because we were not very athletic in school. We were the kids.
I get it, yeah.
Who would rather play games, play video games. So I'm wondering about the inspiration to do a sports game. There's really not a lot of TTRPGs that incorporate sports into them like this. And so I'm wondering about what was your inspiration to include athletics, something that I literally know nothing about.
I mean, I think when we were just thinking about what kinds of games would be fun to make, I think my brother, he was super athletic for like most of his life. He played flag football. I would go out and watch him play flag football with his friends, and they were quite talented, and it was fun to watch them. I played basketball. I live literally next door to a park that had a basketball court. It didn't always have rims because the rims would get stolen a lot, but whenever they had rims, we would play there. My friend down the street had a goal. So we would play. I played tennis all in high school. So I've been involved in sports, and I actually do like sports. I like sports because they're also games, right?
Yeah. Yes. That's true.
I like to dissect how, like, when I'm watching football, for instance, like I'm thinking like from the coach's perspective, and that feels like a board game, from a board game level, right? Like, how do you pick the play, and what positions do you put which players in? Like, that's the board game nerd evaluating sport. So I don't think it's that far removed. And I think we just kind of took that approach, and we were like, okay, how do we design a game that puts you in that role where you can figure out how to make these players effective at what they're doing. So it didn't feel that much of a stretch for me.
Yeah, when you put it like that, now I'm starting to see where the nerd stuff comes out.
Oh.
Part of that. So that actually really makes it sound more interesting. Am I interested enough to start watching sports? Probably not, but I will be playing this game and then telling everybody that I am an athlete now.
There you go. I like it.
Derek, do you have anything that you wanted to wrap us up with, or how good are we on time?
Wrap us up with, you say?
Yes.
Oh,
wait.
That's all I got. Sorry. Other than that's it.
That was a mummy joke. It's October.
We should probably note that Rap Gods is available as part of your Kickstarter too, because the Kickstarter is helping you fund a reprint of that. So if folks are interested, especially after Isabella telling us how it went over with her friends, if you want to jump in on that, then this Kickstarter is another opportunity to do that as well. But I'm sure we have plenty more questions, but we do need to let you go. You mentioned you had a note that you want to get to. So thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
We hope that we can have you on again.
Too.
Thanks.
Well, that's a lot of Emma, basically, I think. So hopefully we can have you on again soon. And Bonsai, do you want to give us our usual outro?
Outro, of course. One thing I do have to compliment all your shoes before we switch away on that. I've been staring at them. I'm trying to think, is that an orange and blue or yellow and blue? Sorry, but yes, outro. Going in. So hey, here at Gen Con TV, we're not just the TableTakes series. We have a whole slew of shows that you can come and watch. Our streaming schedule goes in Pacific time zones. Monday, 6 p.m., Board Games with the Brothers Mirth. Wednesday, 1:30, we got This Game Gets Dicey. And after that, 4 p.m., Fireside. Fridays at 2 p.m. is TableTakes, but hey, special Halloween event this next coming Friday, October 30th. We got at 4 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be streaming Alien Stream Destroyer of Worlds with myself, Isabella, and our manager, Kelsey, along with our content marketing specialist, Jordan. So it's going to be very spooky, scary, alien tactics at 8 p.m. Pacific. You can watch us. There's going to be a watch party of spooky movies with Boozer. Oh, I thought it said Booze, but no, Boozer and Jordan. I was like, hey, Booze. Sorry. But yes, remember to follow, subscribe, turn on notifications. If you miss this show live on here on Twitch, wait 24 hours and it'll be on YouTube. And just keep in contact. We got Discords. We got all this stuff. We got a Twitter. And thank you all for joining, especially Omari. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Omari.
Yeah, thanks. This was awesome.
Derek and Isabella as well, thank you. And I hope all of you guys in chat are going to have a glorious, glorious day. And remember, vote.
Vote. Now, but not for Kanye. Just vote, seriously.
Oh, no, we're not saying that.
Don't write. I see some of you writing him in. Don't write him in.
Thanks for sending us out on a high note there, Isabella.
I'm sorry. People are doing it. It's making me mad.
Why are they people?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.